Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, welcome. So those of us who garden in warmer climates focus so much on keeping plants alive during the summer, we forget that winter temperatures can lead to the demise of many plants we grow as well. So today, we are going over multiple plants that do well in the heat of summer and whatever cold our winters bring. It's important to put this out here for everyone now because I, like many of you, are perusing gardening catalogs and adding new plants to online carts. So I am here today to tell you that the plants that we have to show you today are so good for both hot and cold climates. Let me just show you. So without further ado, let's just get started. The first plant is Sedum, commonly known as stonecrop. Now, this is an herbaceous perennial that has thick, fleshy leaves that store water, and then these little flowers emerge in the summer or fall that can come in a variety of shades. There are various forms. There are low-growing creeping types and taller upright varieties. But as succulents, sedums can survive prolonged dry spells, high temperatures, and arid conditions with minimal supplemental watering. This makes them highly drought resistant and ideal for hot, dry climates. They also handle poor soil and intense sun without issue, although in extreme heat, so that above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, you may find that you could get scorched leaves in some varieties. Now, sedum requires little watering or fertilizer once established. Many species are remarkably hardy, surviving winters in USDA hardiness zones 3 and then all the way up to 9. It is this combination of traits, water storage for drought, heat resilience, and inherent cold hardiness that makes them a versatile, tough plant that excels in extreme weather while needing very little care. Next is Buddleia, also known as butterfly bush, and it is a genus of flowering shrubs, with Buddleia davidii being the most widely grown species. It comes with these graceful arching branches and lance-shaped gray-green leaves, often white felted underneath, that also has these long conical panicles of tiny tubular sweetly fragrant flowers that emerge from summer through fall. The blooms can come in many vibrant shades while attracting masses of butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds. They're pretty fast growing. They're great for borders, mass plantings, or as specimen plants due to their long bloom time. In warmer climates, they will bloom all the way until your first hard frost. Not much maintenance is required. They can thrive in average to poor soils. However, they do need full sun and well-drained soil. It doesn't care that much about pH range. And once established, they need very little water or fertilizing, although young plants benefit from regular moisture. These plants perform well in both heat and cold. The reason for that is it will develop these deep roots, and the slightly hairy leaves in some varieties reduce water loss. They excel in hot, dry summers, and these plants can handle temperatures well into the mid-90s to 100 degrees Fahrenheit in full sun. We grow various butterfly bush here in Central Texas in full all-day sun, and there is absolutely no scorching. Now, most are hardy in USDA zones 5 through 9, although there are some improved hybrids that can push to zone 4 and extend to zone 10. Now, in colder zones, so zones 5 and 6, you can expect them to die back to the ground like herbaceous perennials during harsh winters, but they will reliably regrow vigorously from the roots in the spring. In milder areas, so zone 9, they may retain more structure. However, mulching will help protect the roots in borderline zones. And sometimes, don't worry, they are often late to break dormancy, but don't assume that they died or, there's just don't assume that you know what's going on with winter damage, etc. Just give it a little time. It is a reliable pollinator-friendly shrub for extreme weather. However, you may want to check local regulations, as some older varieties can self-seed aggressively in certain regions. Fortunately, there are sterile cultivars that are widely available to avoid invasiveness. Next, Agastache or Agastache, commonly known as hummingbird mint or anise hyssop, is a genus of aromatic perennials in the mint family, so the Lamiaceae family. Now, these upright clump-forming plants feature square stems, lens-shaped aromatic foliage that is often minty or smell like or give off a citrus scent when crushed. Going to have these tall spikes of tubular flowers in vibrant shades of purple, lavender, pink, rose, orange, red, white, blue. And the blooms appear from midsummer through fall, but in warm climates, you more than likely will see blooms until your first hard frost. Now, these plants provide long-lasting color and abundant nectar that attracts hummingbirds, butterflies, bees, and other pollinators. It is also pretty deer resistant due to its strong scent. They are very low maintenance, preferring full sun, although some can tolerate light shade. We grow ours in full all-day sun and also in part sun. You just don't want heavy clay or wet feet. It also prefers neutral to alkaline pH. Now, once established, they need minimal water or fertilizer. So if you happen to see floppy growth and or fewer blooms, just cut back on or eliminate fertilizer, and you could see things turn around in that regard. Now, this plant performs well in both heat and cold. It absolutely excels in hot, dry conditions and arid climates, making it a perfect choice for xeriscaping. It can handle intense sun and high temperatures in the mid-90s all the way up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or more without wilting, while continuing to bloom when many plants struggle. Again, this is another plant that we grow here in full all-day sun up to sundown, and it doesn't miss a beat. Now, the hardiness is going to vary by species and cultivar, but many are reliably perennial in USDA hardiness zones 5 through 10. So they're going to come back for you every year. However, our gorgeous blue fortune is hardy all the way down to zone 4. Next is Russian sage, scientifically known as Perovskia atriplycifolia. Now, it was recently reclassified as Salvia yangi in some sources. Now, this woody-based shrub is a deciduous perennial in the mint family. So again, Lamiaceae. It has finely dissected aromatic gray to green silvery foliage on square silvery stems that are topped with long terminal panicles of these small tubular lavender blue to purple flowers. The blooms can create a delicate cloud of color from summer to fall, often until frost, while attracting bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and other pollinators, while being deer and rabbit resistant to boot. Now, it will typically grow anywhere from about 3 to 5 feet tall and 2 to 4 feet wide, although there are more compact cultivars with an upright to slightly spreading habit. It is a low maintenance, very long-lived plant once established that wants to be grown in full sun, so give it at least 6 hours a day of full sun. Well-drained soil, does not care about the quality. It can be sandy, rocky, poor, lean. However, slightly alkaline is ideal. It can tolerate clearly a range of conditions except for wet or heavy clay soil. So you want to make sure that your drainage is good, and in clay soil, you may want to plant it a little high. Now, once established, it is extremely drought resistant due to its deep tap roots and low water needs. It's going to thrive in hot, dry summers and arid climates, easily handling temperatures in the 90s to the over 100 degrees Fahrenheit with ease. Now, it is hardy in USDA zones 4 through 9, although some sources rate it hardy all the way down to zone 3, provided you have excellent drainage. In colder zones, it's more than likely going to die back to the ground, but it will regrow vigorously from the woody base in the spring. Echinacea, commonly known as coneflower, is a genus of herbaceous perennials in the Asteraceae or daisy family, which, it totally looks like that. It has about 9 to 10 species, although the most popularly cultivated is the Echinacea purpurea. Coneflower are upright clump-forming plants that have rough dark green basal leaves that are often lance-shaped or ovate on tall, sturdy stems topped with these large daisy-like flowers. Your blooms will appear from midsummer all the way through fall, often until frost, giving you that extended color and heavy nectar pollen production for bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and goldfinches, which actually love the seed heads in winter. Echinacea will grow anywhere from 2 to 5 feet in height, depending upon the variety. They're low maintenance and deer resistant due to their rough texture and taste, and they can be quite long-lived once established. You want to grow it in full sun, so at least 6 hours per day. It can tolerate some light shade, but it's not going to bloom as much. Give it well-drained soil. It doesn't care about poor, sandy, rocky soil, but again, you want to avoid heavy clay or constantly wet conditions. The pH that it prefers is neutral to slightly alkaline. Now, you're going to water these plants regularly in the first year or two, and then minimally once it gets rooted in. It's going to perform well for you both in heat and cold due to its prairie native adaptations and deep tap roots. So it's highly heat and drought tolerant once established, thriving with as little as about 15 inches of rain per year and native ranges while handling hot, dry summers and temperatures in the mid-90s to 100 degrees Fahrenheit plus with ease. It is exceptionally hardy in USDA 3 to 4 and anywhere from 9 to zone 10 in the heat. Next is Salvia Nemorosa. Now, this salvia is hardy typically in USDA zones 4 through 8. Popular varieties are Cardana, Maynite, Blue Hill, East Friesland, or the Proven Winners Profusion series of the Salvia Nemorosa. They can grow anywhere from 1 to 3 feet in height and typically about 1 to 2 feet in width with a neat bushy habit. These plants prefer full sun, so you want to make sure it gets at least 6 hours of sun daily. However, while it can handle the heat, full sun beaming down on this plant in very hot areas is something that you may want to avoid. Make sure your soil is well drained. It doesn't care if it's average, poor, sandy, gravelly, loamy, slightly acidic to neutral. But again, you're going to avoid heavy clay or wet conditions. Once the salvia is rooted in, it performs well in both heat and cold thanks to its adaptable, tough nature. It is heat and drought tolerant once established, having deep roots that help it to access moisture when it needs it. Can handle temperatures in the 90s to 100 degrees Fahrenheit plus with ease. So temperatures are good, but preferably not in full afternoon sun. It is exceptionally hardy in zones 3 to 9 or 4 to 8 for most cultivars, but some push to zone 3A with lows down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So these plants can survive harsh winters with ease. It's going to die back to the ground in the fall in the coldest areas, but it will regrow vigorously from the crown in the spring. Excellent drainage, again, is key. So if you need to plant it in raised beds or slopes, that will help to ensure proper drainage. And again, in warmer climates with clay soil, you may want to plant it a little high. Next is Nepeta, also known as catmint. Now, this plant typically grows anywhere from 1 to 3 feet in height and width with a mounding to spreading habit. It is very low maintenance and a very long-lived perennial, preferring at least 6 hours of sun per day. However, it will tolerate a little light shade, but it's going to bloom best for you in full sun. This plant needs well-drained soil, which can be poor, sandy, rocky, or loamy. Plus, it tolerates a wide range of pH, but dislikes wet or heavy clay. So you're going to water well during its establishment period, but very little once it gets rooted in. It is going to be highly drought tolerant for you once established, easily handling temperatures in the mid to high 90s and even over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It thrives here in the Texas heat without wilting at all. It is a top choice for xeriscaping in arid or humid hot regions because it's going to resist stress, pests, and diseases while continuing to bloom prolifically. You're just going to shear it back after the first flush for rebloom and tidiness. Avoid overwatering. If you see it becoming leggy, you may want to reduce watering. That's going to be a sign. It is very hardy to USDA zones 3 through 8 or 4 to 9, but it should survive harsh winters easily. And cold temperatures, it will die back to the ground, but it's going to regrow vigorously from the crown in the spring. You can mulch lightly in borderline cold areas or containers, and then just cut it back in early spring for fresh, compact growth. You will find that it is a reliable, fragrant, and versatile perennial for tough conditions and eco-friendly gardens. Last on the list is Yucca, and this is a genius of evergreen, sometimes semi-evergreen, perennial plants that are native primarily to arid and semi-arid regions of North America. These very striking architectural plants feature stiff, sword-like or strap-like leaves arranged in rosettes at the base or atop woody stems. The leaves are often blue, green, or gray-green, or variegated with sharp tips and sometimes filamentous edges, so curly threads, for example, on the Yucca filamentosa. In the summer, you're going to get tall spikes or panicles that will rise above the foliage, bearing clusters of these large, bell-shaped, creamy white to greenish white flowers that attract pollinators like bees. This plant thrives in 6 hours of sun per day, can tolerate light shade, but it does prefer full sun and extremely well-drained soil. Now, hardiness varies by species, but many are surprisingly cold tolerant for such arid-looking plants. Common garden types like Y. filamentosa, Y. glauca, and Y. baccata are reliable in USDA hardiness zones 4 to 10 or 5 to 11. Okay, y'all, that's it. Some excellent, gorgeous, strong, tough, beautiful perennials that will do well, not just in the heat of summer, but also in pretty cold or frigid temperatures. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day in your garden. Bye.